Hey everyone, welcome to my kitchen. Hola mi gente, bienvenido a mi cocina. Today I'm going to bring you a delicious recipe, and this recipe is for Cuban bread. Hoy traigo una receta muy deliciosa, lo sabe, pan cubano. Today I'm making Cuban bread, and I've made a video before this on how to make Cuban bread. And the reason why I have to make my Cuban bread is because where I live at in New York, we don't have any Cuban bakeries. I have to drive to Jersey to get Cuban bread. So I'm going to show you how I like to make it. And for this recipe, we're going to need 3.5 cups of bread flour, 3/4 cups of water, warm water, 3 tablespoons of lard or manteca in Spanish, 2 teaspoons of sugar, 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of oil, and 1.5 packs of rapid active yeast. Para esta receta necesitamos 3.5 tazas de harina, bread flour, 3/4 tazas de agua tibia, 3 cucharadas de manteca, 2 cucharaditas de azúcar, 2 cucharaditas de sal, 2 cucharaditas de aceite, un sobre y media de levadura, rapid active yeast. For the starter, I'm going to be using 1/2 teaspoon of yeast, 2 teaspoons of sugar, 3/4 cups of warm water, and 1/2 cup of flour. Now we're going to wait 10 minutes so that we can see if the yeast is alive and active. And once we find out that the yeast is alive and active, then we're going to add in the 1/2 cup of flour. Y para hacer el starter, necesitamos media cucharaditas de levadura, rapid active yeast, 2 cucharaditas de azúcar, 3/4 tazas de agua tibia, y media taza de harina, bread flour. So now you want to just cover it with some saran wrap and just let it sit for 10 minutes. Ahora lo cubrimos y dejamos reposar por 10 minutos. Now we're going to check it to see if it's active. And once we find out that it's active, then we're going to add in our 1/2 cup of flour. Ahora chequeala para ver si está lista. And yes, it is definitely ready. You can tell because of the bubbles on top. So now we're going to add 1/2 cup of flour to our yeast, and we're going to let it rest for 30 minutes. Ahora añadimos la harina en nuestra levadura y dejamos reposar por 30 minutos. So now we're going to prepare to make the bread. So to this bowl, we're going to add in 3/4 cups of warm water. In addition to that, we're going to add 1 pack of fast-acting yeast. Ahora empezamos a hacer nuestro pan. Le puse 3/4 tazas de agua tibia, un sobre de levadura y 2 cucharaditas de azúcar. Ahora vamos a mezclar todos los ingredientes. So now we're going to mix all the ingredients together. So we're going to cover this and let this sit for 10 minutes. Cubrimos con saran wrap por 10 minutos. So we're going to check this, the yeast, to see if it's ready. And once we see that it's ready, then we're going to add in our flour. Ahora nuestra levadura está lista. Vamos a empezar a hacer nuestro pan. So now I'm going to start making our bread. I'm adding in 1/4 cup or 3 tablespoons of manteca or lard. In addition to that, I'm adding 2 teaspoons of salt. And then I'm going to add in 3 cups of flour, but I'm adding 1 cup at a time. Vamos a añadir 3/4 tazas de manteca, 2 cucharaditas de sal y 3 tazas de harina. Pero vamos a añadir 1 taza a la vez. So now I'm going to add in my starter, and then I'm going to add in the rest of the flour. Vamos a añadir nuestro starter y el resto de la harina. Y después echar la masa sobre la mesa. So now we're done, and we're going to pour out our dough onto the table, and we're going to put dust some flour over the surface to make it easier so that we can knead the dough. Okay, pongo un poquito de harina sobre la mesa, porque vamos a empezar a amasar la masa por 10 minutos hasta que esté suavecita. Cuando la masa está suave y elástica, entonces está lista. Ok, vamos a engrasar el bol con aceite y vamos a dejar fermentando por 1 hora y media y más o menos, y lo cubrimos con saran wrap. So now what we're going to do is we're greasing our dough so that it doesn't dry out. And we're going to leave it in a bowl, cover it with saran wrap for about an hour and a half, more or less. And we're allowing it to rest so that the fermentation process can start and the dough will double in size. Pues sí, ha pasado 1 hora y media y miren lo que tenemos. Nuestra masa creció. So it's been an hour and a half, and look at what we have. Our dough has risen, has grown to a tremendous size. So now we're going to remove the dough and we're going to press the air out of the dough and we're going to knead it for 1 minute. Ok, el siguiente paso es echar la masa en la mesa y sacamos el aire de la masa. Primero tiene que amasar la masa por 1 minuto. Y después divida la masa en 2 iguales partes y enrollar la masa. So now we're going to divide the dough into 2 because I'm making 2 loaves of bread. So we're going to knead the dough for 1 more minute and then we're going to roll it out flat. Ok, vamos a empezar a amasar la masa por 1 minuto más. So how you can tell if your dough is ready is when you press it, it bounces right back. And if it bounces right back and it doesn't leave an indentation, then it's ready. So now we want to start molding our bread. So we're going to start rolling it out so that we can flatten it. And then we're going to roll it into a bread shape. Ok, vamos a moldear cada pieza en forma de pan y presionarla un poquito así. Y después vamos a enrollar la masa para que formar el pan. So now you want to roll out your dough, and you want to make it as best you can in shape of what the bread is going to look like. So I'm trying to form the dough so that I can have it in a rectangle shape, so that when I get ready to roll the dough, it will be in the shape of the bread. Ok, vamos a usar el rodillo para aplanar la masa. So now you want to try to pinch the ends closed, and you want to put a seam at the bottom of the dough so it doesn't spread and pop open. Ok, cerramos los puntos así con agua. Now we need a little bit of cornmeal to spread at the bottom of our tray. And that is to give the crust at the bottom that you normally find when you buy Cuban bread. Y ahora necesitamos un poquito de harina de maíz para que formar la corteza en el fondo de pan. Now we want to brush a little bit of water on top of the dough so that we can form a nice crust. Y ahora necesitamos un poquito de agua para formar la corteza. So now we're going to cover it up and we're going to let this rest for about 30 minutes to an hour, and then we're going to come back and get ready to bake it. Ahora tápalo y dejamos reposar por 30 minutos a 1 hora, más o menos. So our next and final step is to add some more water to the bread so that it doesn't dry out, and we're going to use a knife to cut a slit down the middle, and that's to form the line that you see in Cuban bread. So I'm going to brush it with water. I'm going to get ready to bake this in the oven at 350 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes. Ahora tenemos que cortar la línea encima de la masa para que formar la marca del pan cubano. Now we're going to bake this at 350 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes. And you want to add a bowl of water for vapor, to vaporize the oven. Ok, vamos a hornearlo por 15 a 20 minutos y necesitamos un bowl de agua para hacer un vapor en el horno. Well, guys, here is my delicious pan cubano. It came out perfect. Me queda muy rico. I am really proud of myself. Every time I make Cuban bread, I'm proud of myself because I don't have to buy it. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for taking the time out to watch this video. Please stay tuned for more upcoming videos. Have a good day. God bless. Bye-bye.